Game Boy, the ultimate weapon in any 90s kid's arsenal. Right in between the Capri Sun and the Dunkaroos, a big gray brick calling out from the mysterious depths of your third grade backpack. And whether you may or may not know it, there's actually a lot of history behind this thing. An epic tale, in fact. Kind of like the Lord of the Rings, but with Mario. A rise, a fall, and sandwiched somewhere in between. A golden age. And that's what we're talking about today, ladies and gentlemen, the golden age of the Game Boy, the entire thing, the whole story, how exciting. So strap in, get your buttholes ready, we're going in. Mr. Game & Watch, a popular individual, well-known, a classic member of the Super Smash Bros. Roster, and one of Nintendo's only diverse minority characters. An inspiration to many people, including myself. But something that you might not know about Mr. Game & Watch, or maybe you do, I don't know, he's really old. The star of Nintendo's first ever handheld device, the precursor to the Game Boy. The Game & Watch came out in 1980, which was a pretty good year, all things considered. You know, people were listening to this, watching this, and dressing like this. So 2 out of 3. Not too bad if you ask me. And it was a pretty influential device, as you could probably imagine. I mean, you can't really bring to market a handheld banger like this without every other video game company around saying, yeah, let's do that too. Finally, the ability to avoid even more social interactions in public was at the tip of your fingers, and life was just really good. Nintendo was ecstatic, you know, cruising along, doing their thing. They dropped the NES in 1985, which kept them busy for a while, as you could probably imagine. But by the time the 80s were coming to a close, things were just really played out. Cocaine, Flock of Seagulls, and Field of Dreams. People were waiting for the heroin and grunge music to hit the stage, and Nintendo, more specifically this guy, picked up on the vibe and he said, you know what would be dope? A handheld device with cartridges. Boom. The Game Boy was born. 1989, the Game Boy was released to critical acclaim, and on the day of its unveiling, all across the country, a noise could be heard. Children swarming upon the stores like a diseased locust. The unwashed hordes of youth rushed the video game aisles, leaving streams of toxic slime and an acrid stench in their wake as parents bumbled uselessly behind, attempting to restrain their animal-like tendencies. There were no survivors. All stock was sold out within the first 2 weeks. And the Game Boy was a smash success, selling out basically as quickly as it came in. Everybody in the entire world was rocking one of these things. And there's a number of reasons as to why it was so successful over other handheld devices at the time. You know, I mean, name recognition. It didn't chew through 10,000 batteries every 5 seconds, and you could beat a man to death with it. But by far and away, the biggest reason for its success, straight out of the gate, Tetris. Stacking blocks. Who would have known? Basically the equivalent to crack. Maybe it was the music, maybe it was the 1080p next-gen graphics. We'll never know. But either way, people were hopelessly addicted, and Nintendo was laughing all the way to the bank. Cashing checks, snapping necks. The golden age of the Game Boy had begun. 1998, we're fast forwarding a little bit here, but you know, the Game Boy had some good runtime. They dropped some good games, some dope new iterations. They basically ran the handheld market in the 90s. Shit was good for Nintendo. But if Tetris kicked off the golden age, surely there must have been a peak, a critical mass, a maximum potential of Super Saiyan God mode awesomeness that occurred at some point. And there was. By far and away, the ultimate tip-top peak of the Game Boy lifespan occurred on September 28th, 1998. Pokemon. The ultimate Thanos-level moment in gaming history. Half the population of the entire universe was playing red, and the other half was playing blue. Riots and gang wars in the streets. Absolute, utter chaos. And I don't think I really have to explain to you the significance of the birth of Pokemon. If you are old enough to comprehend language, you know what Pokemon is. Probably even if you don't. But when those games dropped, rumor has it that Nintendo sent out an email to every other video game company around at the time that simply read, GG. You just couldn't compete. It was a cultural phenomenon. It was all anybody wanted. It was all anybody bought. It was all anybody played. And they played it on the Game Boy. And they did it 2 times over because you couldn't catch all the Pokemon unless you had both of them. And from that point onward, the story had been set in stone. The golden age of the Game Boy had been fully realized in the hearts and the minds of the good people of the planet Earth. The Game Boy carried on from there. You know, they dropped the Color and then the Advance, and then they went on to the DS line, which isn't technically in the Game Boy family, but it's a Nintendo handheld, so, you know, it rose by any other name kind of thing. And it's just mostly been pretty solid for Nintendo ever since. You know, they've never really had a significant falling off point. And I think like any other epic tale, that's a pretty good place to end. You know, the hero, having vanquished his enemies, rides off into the sunset to live the rest of his days in peace and tranquility. Till he got hit by a car at the age of 87. And that's the video, folks. Thank you so much for watching the golden age of the Game Boy, a little history lesson for you. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. Make sure to subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I hope to see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Love ya. Bye-bye.